Okay, folks, it's your buddy, Mike Messier. That's me, the one and only. Let's discuss this movie, I.S.S. What does it stand for, Mike? International Space System, I believe. International Space System. So, what's the movie about? Should you go see it? Should you go not? I'd say so. I'd say if you can handle a decent drama with some intensity, but not gore. It's not a horror film, it's a sci fi film, but it's also an allegory, if you were, for world politics and peace and lack of peace and war. Kind of in the tradition of, Planet of the Apes or Aliens or other sci fi movies that mean more than you think they do initially. But this one kind of wears its, political message on its sleeve, supposedly. Perhaps. Let's discuss. So, in case you haven't seen the movie or you're thinking about it, I'd say go see it. It's good. I didn't know much about this movie going into it. In fact, I don't even think I saw a trailer or a commercial for this movie. I did have a subscriber, a pal of mine, Michael AJ, did send me some type of article about it. And I just went to go, me, everyone. I like to see my movies raw. I don't like to have other people's opinions influence my wonderful opinion. I don't want to read reviews before I see a fucking movie. Okay? If I want to see a movie, I'll go see it. Then I'll compare and contrast the reviews from others to my own. I don't want their opinions influencing my enjoyment or lack therein. So basically, what happens? Well, spoilers, okay? Basically, we have this ISS, International Space System. It's some fucking wonderful thing that the Russian cosmonauts, which equates to American astronauts, they all go on this fucking ship and they party and they hang out with each other in this, fictional alternate universe of which our film takes place. And this is after the Cold War has ended, and there's 3 Russians and 3 Americans, 2 Russian men, 1 woman, 1 Russian female. On the flip side, there's 2 American men and 1 newbie, 1 new American female. She's new to the whole thing. And then while they're up there, the first 20 minutes of the movie, it's just we're kind of learning the parameters of this thing, how they sleep, how they get along. They're all buddy. They promise not to talk politics. They have a heated debate about the lyrical content of the song Winds of Chains by the Scorpions. One thing I hate about movies, folks, not just this movie, but any movie that does this, is when there's some song and all the characters start singing along. Do you ever fucking do that? Are you ever with a group of people, and maybe you do, I don't know, maybe I'm missing out on humanity, but do you ever sit around and your friends or your colleagues and you hear some song on the radio and you all have to break into song and sing it together? I've never done that, not that I can recall. I mean, if you're singing happy birthday to you, asshole, perhaps, but other than that, this movie did that. What's the fucking movie? Guardians of the Galaxy. Don't they do that a couple of times? And there's other movies where, the only time that really worked for me in a film that I can recall off the top of my noggin or my head is Almost Famous, when they all start singing the Elton John song. But, okay, here comes some asshole in their vehicle. But you got to remember that movie was about rock and roll music in the late 70s, where all these assholes thought music was the greatest thing in the world, and the music then was a lot better too, and they were all on a rock and roll tour. So I mean, singing along with the popular song of the day would make sense in that environment. But other than that, I just don't see it where these people have to sing the fucking song together. And when they do, their faces just get so expressive. Oh, we're singing the song together. Oh, this is the greatest thing ever. It's just bullshit to me, quite frankly, Frank. So in any goddamned way. That aside, the movie does a nice, what you call, the moment before. Now, for all you screenwriting assholes out there, you know that when you write a screenplay, you're supposed to have a couple of pages where this is the world before the shit hits the fan. Like, this is the environment, and then we're going to do something, a catalyst moment, if you would, Sid Field, where everything's going to happen and everything's going to be exciting. So in this movie, what basically happens is the newbie, the new lady Americano, she sees what she thinks is a volcano explosion on Earth, because they're all in the spaceship, they're looking at Earth, and then they realize, oh, wait a minute, there's one volcano, there's another, and we kind of get the hint. We get the idea. Then their communications goes out, and they realize, because they get the Russians and the Americans both get messages, hey, we're having a war situation down here. Your duty is to take over the I.S.S. So both the Americans and the Russians now are basically commanded by their countries to take over the I.S.S. by any means necessary, which means kill your brethren, okay? Kill your comrade. Basically, we have a little bit of a, like I said, an allegory. We have the war in the sky between the 3 Russians against the 3 Americans, and here is the wrinkle in the salami. Basically, there's a little romance going on, a little country. The hot Russian, you know, these blonde Russian women always look good in these movies. You know, whether it's fucking Rocky IV with Natasha, whatever the fuck, the Drago's wife, or it's this one. It's this hot blonde, you know, assertive Russian lady, you know, 35 years old, maybe 30, and she's getting all hot and bothered with the American captain. And there's a little intrigue that perhaps, you know, these other Russian guys have the hots for her too, but she's, you know, doing it, so to speak, making out, kissing the Americano. So there's all these layers, and we go into, basically it becomes a movie. Like the last hour, 10 minutes of the movie is alliances form, alliances fall apart. You feel like you're watching, like, I never watched the show Survivor. I thought that was an idiot show, but the concept was pretty good. Like, you have people teaming up, they're looking to survive. Who's the good guy? Who's the bad guy? Layers of each. And we're kind of learning, you know, like we didn't know this already, that if you kill me and I kill you, we're both dead, you know? And so that's the big lesson of the film. If you kill me and I kill you, we're both dead. An eye for an eye leaves everyone blind. You know, I wonder how blind people feel about that fucking expression. Like, hey, you know? So anyway, folks, that's it. I mean, the movie's good. Is it an Academy Award winner? No. Is it a classic? Like, oh my God, all-time great movie? No. But I think it's like a movie that people will enjoy, and perhaps it's a nice conversation starter and a nice thing to think about. So I enjoyed it. The cast, I really didn't recognize anyone except the American captain. Looked a little familiar. I couldn't quite place his face, but I've seen him in something else. The Russian lady was pretty. You know, everyone's great. Good movie. You know, 3 stars. It's fine. It's worth a seeing.